who voted for Tier 6. They support Cuomo, who's the architect of Tier 6.
Isn't he the one that they gave him the money and when he
Charlie,
got it,
Charlie, let Charlie know his. Oh,
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah. You have muted your mic, man.
Yeah, they continue to support Cuomo, even though he vetoed changing Tier 6. So, I mean, they're not looking out for the workers. It's obvious. They're looking out for themselves. There has to be something they're getting in order to be supporting this governor and these politicians who's constantly screwing the workers.
Listen, they getting 30
the signs
million.
are there. The signs are there. People wake up.
Yeah, they getting 30 million, so they don't have to get you have to pay your union dues one way or another. So they still getting your money, and they still not giving you the services that you deserve. And I'm sure if the demographics were different when it came to the issue of this union, it wouldn't be your own union wouldn't be cutting underneath cutting out your fight for the members the way that they do. It would be a whole new different thing.
Let me point out this morning. They posted, or was it last night? They posted something on Twitter. The union, a picture of Senator Charles Schumer,
right,
and saying that he did so much for transit, and they're gloating about it. But what did he do for the workers? Where was the hazard pay that they promised us? Over 170 of our coworkers have died. Over 8,000 of us have gotten sick. What did we get? We didn't even get a freaking day off. Stations department got nothing at all, not even an hour off. How this union is not for the workers. It is not. All the signs are there. People have to wake up and open their eyes and say, you know what? These people haven't done shit for us all these years. It's time for new people to get the opportunity and see if they can deliver.
The bottom line here is, Charlie, you're correct about it. And the downfall and the condition of this union has been going that way for, like I said, I've been here I'm 27 going on 28, started in 2000. People got in there and took our union as their personal piggy banks. And they brought in friends, put people on a union payroll, and these people only objective is to maintain power, pay people to keep them in the position that they are. A lot of our issues when it comes to being like when I'm gonna show you how our union controls newspapers. They have people in there such as a person like Donahue that advocated that the union should be totally demolished when we went on a strike back in 2000. He's now getting paid by our union, and his influence in other media outlets, papers, is their way of trying to control. Like if we have access to the media, that they won't print our stories, won't talk about the plights of the transit workers, stuff like that. That's what he's now brought on to. But this guy advocated that the union should be totally disbanded and demolished because of when we went on the strike in 2005. Now he's collecting our money, putting it in his pocket, a six-figure salary at that.
But over 140,000 he makes a year. Doing what exactly?
Exactly. It's riding shotgun to make sure that none of our issues make it to any of the media outlets and let the public know what's really how we're really treated down here.
Well, this is a lot. Mixing power with a lack of accountability is a recipe for corruption. Mixing power with a lack of accountability is a recipe for corruption. A full disclosure of what union leadership is doing gives the worker the information they need to make informed choices. For 20 years, this union's leadership has not been democratic. It has been a dictatorship. The president of this union has the final say, and that is wrong. The union is a democracy, not a dictatorship. Who wants to come in on this?
Yeah, yeah. I'll come in.
I'll come in right. I'll come right in on this here. This here started when back in the early days, and back in 2000 when it came to Roger. There was so many. They were taking so many of the rights from the members and keeping members in the dark about issues within the union. Even when early days of Roger, we used to have meetings that were a lot of people would show up. It dwindled down over the years because of the power and the ability for people to come in and speak about their issues. Anything and anytime you challenge them back then, you would be getting threatened with throwing out the union meeting and all this type of stuff. To the point where at one point Roger had outsiders that were security people for the union hall. And I remember one time we had at a meeting, we had a big fight up in the union hall. And one of the guys got his leg broken. And the fight called itself trying to stop us from fighting. And he later on tried to sue the union. And I was there for when this was going on. That case that he brought against the union, because I was really interested in it because I understood the dynamics when it came to the issue of unions. I understood that the difference between outsiders and union people. I was there on many occasions. We had fights at 81 Western Avenue, and the police would call, and the police wouldn't lock anybody up because the police said this is a union matter. Unions fight because you do have differences, and it was given, and it's a given right that sometimes union issues can get heated. All right, so they would never arrest anybody, but I say that to say this guy took us to our union to court, and he lost. And the judge's exact explanation was, your job was to keep outsiders out of that hall. But when it came to the union members and we're paying, dues paying men, and we got to fighting up in there on issues, that wasn't his business. He lost his lawsuit because of that. And I say all of that to say, this is the dictatorial type atmosphere that's built from Roger. And this guy here, he's been around Roger. So he's just carrying it on. He said, listen, you had a black man that treated you like this. We're going to continue to treat you like this. And we're going to keep this atmosphere and this condition going, until, because it was all about staying in there and spending the members' money. The members' money became like those that you put in charge. It became their personal piggy bank. If people would ever take a look at the LM2s and see some of the stuff that, these people do with their money, they would have a change of heart. Now, a lot of people advocate and talking about, we should, because of what you call it, this new law that we should pull out of the union. I would never advise that. I would never advise that, because there's strength in being with a union. You just got to get the bums out there that's making money off the sweat of your back and not doing anything. So don't let everybody sell you on that fact. Oh, we could just leave the union. No. There are benefits, and there are things that are beneficial to being in a union. You just gotta see our unions on. We get the most participation in the last 5 elections was 30%. 30%. Out of you got 30% telling the other 70% what we gonna do, what we gonna do, what we gotta accept. That is not going to cut it. If we could maintain 70% participation, then it would keep our union and the people in power at bay. it would keep them and make them do their jobs. But we
Let me
don't
bring-
even get even that high.
Let me bring Block in real quick. Blocker, do you think there's a dictatorship or a democracy?
It's a dictatorship. I'm kind of tired right now, but from everything that I've been seeing and everything that I've been witnessing, they don't go to the membership about anything. They pick and choose who they choose to help. Their system is more like the criminal penal system. They'll get you something on your record in order for you to not grow within transit. They like I said, it's a hard question for me to answer, but they pick and choose.
No problem. Let me bring in Charlie. Charlie, let me ask you a question. Is this a democracy or a dictatorship?
Come on, we all know the answer to that. Of course, it's a dictatorship. It's a dictatorship. And let me give you a few examples, and I'm going to go off course a little bit. I have a habit of doing that. Okay. And Staley brought up Roger. Okay. I'm going to bring up some money because I like to bring up figures. Okay. When 80 West, the old Union Hall, was sold, it was sold for $60 million. Okay. Where's that money? I haven't seen it. When Samuelson sold the Gilmartin houses, he sold them for $17 million. The Gilmartin houses, in case people don't know, the Gilmartin houses were created for retirees. It was a housing complex for retirees. And it was sold for $17 million. Where's that money? Okay. Combined, that's $77 million. Where's that money? Right now, if they would have kept both properties, the one on 80 West right now is worth about $500 million. The one at the Gilmartin houses right now, the property is worth about $200 million. With that kind of money, we would have been the most powerful union in the world. Okay. And these guys sold it for basically nothing. I mean, when Roger sold the 80 West, 6 months later, the new owner, sold that property for $120 million. And if anybody doesn't believe me, go look it up. You can see it. So one thing and the reason why I brought this up is the members didn't even have a choice in selling these buildings. Why is that? Those buildings were bought without dues money. So how come we had no say in it? If that's not a dictatorship, then I don't know. Let me also point out the last, right before the last election, there's the RTO VP. His name is Kia. He was removed from office on trumped up charges. Okay, Utano accused him of, I guess, bringing some outsider to a meeting without any proof, and he had a kangaroo court, and they ousted this guy from his position that he was elected to. So that's another example of dictatorship. And there's many more. I'm trying to think more. I'm a little tired, but trust me, it'll come to me and I'll bring it up.
Well, let me be clear. The current president of this union has forced the members to ratify a management-friendly contract. He has refused to bring voting into the 21st century. And the last thing, because there's a whole lot, but the last thing is that he appointed a VP who brought down a particular department to a prominent position without the members voting. Charlie, what you say?
That's exactly what I couldn't think of it, but that's exactly. Yeah, he appointed a man who basically destroyed the station department, who gave up everything, who was giving up everything to management, like bringing in private contractors to do cleaning jobs, like not fighting for the lunch relief job, but having people send the G2s and him bringing a binder to Sarah Feinberg, which I know Sarah Feinberg had a big kick out of that one, because really bring me a notebook with papers, give me a break. I mean, what kind of fight is that? And let me just also point out, I've done it twice this week, and I'm going to do it a third time. Okay, on Facebook, I pointed out that I suggested that they for lunch relief jobs, that stations go out there, Richard and Kelly, go out there, go to the media, go on the internet, go on Facebook, go to the public, hand out flyers about these lunch relief jobs being lost. Okay, some idiot named Eric Logel, who's the VP of RTO, he mocked it.
Judas.
Yeah,
The
Judas, yeah, Judas Logel. He mocked me. All right, calling me, I guess, something like a jailhouse lawyer or something like that. I'm not. I don't remember, but he called me a lawyer. I know that. But the moron is actually following what I was saying, and he's going to the media. He's going on the internet. You know, he filed an injunction, like I said, that they should have done. So, yeah, you see how they listen to the members, but they don't want to listen to the members. And we're not getting any credit for that. Like when we went to the MTA board meeting, they cut us out of the video. You know, there was 3 of us that spoke in between. Whoever the hell spoke first, I know it was one of the union guys. Then it was Ferretti, myself, and you, and then the rest of the Stutz-Tanos. I call them the Stutz-Tanos. They went after us, but when they posted the video up, me, you, and Ferretti were missing. So you see how they try to keep the circle of friends there and keep the outsiders out, meaning us.
Staley, I want to deal with what's called unfair practices. Now, the situation is that there are 5 categories when it comes to dealing with unfair practices. Do you remember them, sir?
Yeah. Okay. When it comes to the issue of unfair labor practice charges, when you bring either side could be brought up on these charges. It could be the employer or the union can be brought up on unfair labor practice charges. One of the unfair labor practice charges is blocking grievances. That's on the union side.
Hold on. Let me interrupt. I got to interrupt.
Go.
Staley, you mentioned blocking grievances. How many times did they block your grievances?
There was a few times, yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
not only that, it was brought up in a union meeting where Derek Echeverria admitted that we blocked his grievances on purpose. Now, if you thought for 1 minute that y'all could win, then why didn't you just let the grievance go through? But that's helping management when they do that. When the cleaners at 34th Street and a few other locations were threatened with being made extra if they complained about a pick, and they filed grievances on that matter. I still got letters from the recording secretary and so forth about these grievances went nowhere, and this is your union president that's fighting to hurt you. Why should he be there if he's fighting to hurt you? A lot of people don't understand the issue when it comes to filing charges, because a lot of people keep thinking that the National Labor Board has something to do with us. They don't. So let me finish and then I'll go to what you're saying. The National Labor Board has nothing to do with us, and that's because we have what they call a PERD board. And to clarify, what everybody keep running back and forth talking about, we state workers, we different. We are city workers. Bottom line, PERD board. All you got to do is understand the language, the terminology. What is the PERD board? Public Employees Relations Board. What is our pensions? New York City Employee Retirement. We are city workers, and people need to understand that and stop letting people drag you all over the place. MTA is a state managing agent for the subways, but that's as far as it goes. All you got to do is just look and see what you're categorized under. Your pension is city. Those that intercede on your most important issues is the PERB board, Public Employees Relations Board. Okay, in that the state has their own board, a system that deals with their issues. We have the PERB board. Okay, now that I hope that clarifies that. So when people saying they fighting and where they took their fight to, you understand if they know what they're talking about or not. All right, now what you were going to say?
No, you already cleared it up, because when you told me about the national, the National Labor Board, I just wanted it to come out that we have to deal with PERB, and a lot of people, they didn't understand that, and I'm just glad that
But-
you said it. Go ahead.
Understand this though, even though we do not deal with the national and relations, the National Labor Relations Board, we are still protected under the National Labor Board Act.
Right.
That still applies to us and can be enforced, but we just don't go through the board for them to adjudicate cases that deals with the MTA. That goes through PERB board, through the PERB board. And yeah, there is a provision in the Taylor law. Everybody keeps hollering about, like, there's one thing in the and like the Taylor law is just one law about we can't go on strike, blah blah. The Taylor law covers a lot of areas when it comes to dealing with between the union and management. And one of them, one of the provisions in laws, Taylor law, states specifically that the MTA must deal with us on a fair bait,
Right.
fairly, when it comes to negotiation, whether it's
Right.
contract negotiation or disciplinary, or whatever, workers' rights or whatever. They state specifically that transit had to deal with us, with the union fairly. But we don't have those that we got people that ride along and milk this union for whatever monies they could get out of the union, but yet and still they don't do the fight for the workers that they supposed to fight, the real fight, the fights that makes make TA do a little work, look up stuff, fights that beneficial to us, protects us on the job, whether it's from sexual harassment, from workers' rights. And when it comes especially to workers' rights and working conditions where it comes to the issue of safety. And I just recently have a discussion with an individual that's not extremely knowledgeable. He's an attorney about an issue of safety on the job and the members' right to do what's necessary to protect ourselves. We do not take the positions that we need to take. We don't have the heart. We don't have the fight in us to take the stand up for the issues that protects us. And I always say is like, we all family people here. We have children, and we always advocate to our children go to school, do the right things, and so forth. My question would be to a lot of us on this job: do you do the right thing that when you're on the job that protects your pocket? This is the money that protects your home and your family. It feeds your family and everything. Are you doing the right things that it takes to protect your pocket when you're on this job? Because sometimes it gets to the point where you just can't come in and do 8 and take your butt home. Everybody use that terminology, come in and do your head, but sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. You see, a lot of issues is not always a union matter. You could do it for yourself if you just, you don't have to know everything I know. I just became more and more interested as I evolved on the job, more and more interested because I saw there were just too many issues that wasn't being addressed, and I knew it wasn't right. That's why I stepped up.
Let me ask you this question. If this union was primarily white, would we be going through what we're going through?
You
You know what?
I was
You know
trying
what?
to
Hell no.
stifle. I was trying to stifle this laugh because that was the most funniest. That's like a joke. Of course, it wouldn't be. You see, this is why there's such a big disconnect here between the union and the workers. See, because we're almost, if you really want to be point blank about it, and the only people that get upset is those that's sensitive to that. But let's be real about it. Black, brown, Latino, the whole nine on this job. We come in and we do the work, but we're almost like there was an issue that said that as slavery changed, right? They brought in new issues. In other words, we were allowed to work, but there was abuses that we had to deal with and we had to accept. That's what we're going through right now, this very day in the 21st century here.
Charlie, what you say?
Just look at, let's make a comparison. Look at Long Island Railroad and look at us.
Yeah.
You tell me.
North too, Metro North too.
Yeah, you tell me.
You see, you hear about them fighting and everything or anything. You don't hear nothing because everybody is nice and comfortable. I'm not saying they totally 100% comfortable. They may have issues and they may not be as big as ours.
But let me point.
Ours is big due to the fact it's a bunch of us.
Right.
I got to bring this up. A couple of years ago, the Obama administration, they suggested that the Long Island Railroad, us included, should get a substantial raise. I think it was, and I have to look it up, but it was more like.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
13. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 13.5% raise over 5 years, something like that. Oh no, excuse me, 17% over 7 years. I think that's what it was, right? Something. It was more than what we got, and twice they brought it up. The Obama administration, then they brought it up again, and John Samuelson decided, we don't really want that. What we're gonna do is take 1%, 1%, 1%, 2%. I mean, excuse me, 1%, 1%, 2%, 2%, and 2%, which came out to a total of 8% over 5 years. And we gave back in return for that great raise, we made top pay. Him and the E-board, his control E-board, made top pay from 3 to 5 years, which in essence cost every worker $38,000. Okay. I have to point that. I point that a few times, but you know what? It bugs me that I don't have those $38,000 in the bank. Okay. And everybody should be pissed off that they're losing $38,000. On top of that, he raised the medical contribution from 1.5% to 2%. So that's another thing that happened. And yet he said he supported the Long Island Railroad. Okay, that they were going to stand side by side, but he made this deal and sold out the Long Island Railroad. They were pissed off. And what did they do? They held out. They knew that it was going to hurt them, but you know what? They held out and they got exactly what they wanted. All right. They got the 17.7% raise. And I think that train operators got $1 raise on top of that. I have to look at it. My numbers might be off a little bit, but not by much. But they definitely got a better deal than we did. And all we had to do was just follow their lead, and we didn't.
Blocker, let me ask you a question.
Can I say something right quick on while we're on that with Charlie? I'm not 100% sure. I can pull that information up. If I'm correct, I think, and if I'm wrong, I'm apologize now. But on that committee was either two people that I remember being on that, or either one of these two people I'm about to mention, but were on that committee. I think that committee that Obama put together had, what's her name? The mediator for our union elections, Barbara Deinhardt. I think she was on that committee. If it wasn't her, it was the current interim president. Either one of them were on that. I remember that them being on that committee because I looked up. I did some work on Deinhardt, and I think it was her. I'm leaning more so to her than anybody else, but
Uh,
I will do a fact check on that. But I'm
I,
like 70% sure that I
I
think
might
it was Dinehart.
I might be wrong, but I think it was a former MTA president, Richard Ravitch, that was involved in that too.
He was on there. I remember what's her name due to the fact her name stood out because I said she was she also mediated was the what you call it for our elections, which
Yeah, please.
which like
She's,
I said, I could check that. I could pull that up while we in the midst of this here right now. So
well, I
yeah,
mean, I'll look. I'll do my homework and I'll bring it up next time we have one of these Zoom meetings. But I can assure you that we settled for less than what the Obama administration was pushing for. It
exactly.
doesn't make sense.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up real quick. Question. We've went through a myriad of things about our union and things of that nature. Final word to the stations department. We're gonna start off with Brother Blocker. Final word to the stations department. Your brothers and sisters are listening. Go.
If y'all want to win, y'all better roll with us, because this ain't no game no more.
There you go. There you go.
Better roll with us. Keep on following the uneducated. You know, he sounds educated, but they hustlers. And it's self-explanatory. Why would you take 2% when we could have got 5? I might have settled for 3.5, but still, you better roll with us.
Charlie Munoz, message to the
Hey,
stations department. Your brothers and sisters are listening.
Blocker said it. You better roll with us, otherwise you're not gonna roll at all because you're gonna be out of a job. Station agents, CTAs. Let me hold on. I'm CTAs. Let me just. I just remember something. This last contract, Richard and Kelly sold us a bill of goods, and they said that CTAs got a no layoff clause. Huh. It took me a while to figure this one out. But Willie James, okay, when Rudy Giuliani wanted the welfare workers on board, Willie James made a deal to allow them if they have a set amount of CTAs, okay, which is I think 2,300 CTAs, if I'm correct. So they can't lay off anybody because I think we even have less than 2,300 CTAs. So under that contract, which is still in effect, why did we need the no layoff clause? It's a farce.
Right.
It's a farce. There is no way. We don't need it. You know who needed that? The station agents. Yet they didn't offer the no layoff clause to station agents. This is the trickery that these clowns try to use all the time. And I knew it kept going in my head that something wasn't right. And it finally clicked, you know. So if you don't believe me, I'm gonna post up where Willie James actually had that, said that 2,300, something to that number, 2,300. Excuse me, management must always have 2,300 CTAs on board. Okay, so that no layoff clause, it is bullshit. But anyway, my message to my coworkers: people stay strong. Listen. You don't believe us? Do your homework. You'll see we're not lying. You'll see what the union is saying. You'll see that they're lying. I hate to say it, but a lot of them are liars, or they play with the truth. And like Blocker said, we're the real deal. And when we get in there, and we are going to get in there, we're going to cause havoc. We're going to be hated. We're going to be abused. But you know what? We're going to fight for you. And that's something that I promise that I and these 3 guys right here, we're going to do for you.
Well, it's my turn. Let me see. To my brothers and sisters, to claim this moment as a revolution is to claim revolution for human action. When you as a member display your displeasure and voice your concerns, that is revolution. When you are convinced that the current system is not working and your voice is not being heard and your anger becomes your gift, you are ready for real change. You are ready for revolution. There are systemic failures in our union, and they are not being addressed. The union leaders of the future are going to have to explain why there are no longer a stations department because of what they have done. We need a revolution in our union, or things will be torn asunder. Why? People are tired. They're tired. You give us this, you take it away. You give us this, you declare victory, but it was already in the contract. This is not technology. This is technology. We need change in our department. Stanley, final words to the stations department. Your brothers and sisters are listening.
What I can say is to stop sitting back and letting people take control of your lives, especially your livelihoods. This when it comes to this job, you know, you need to look up, find out things on your own, protect yourselves, be mindful of all the people that come smiling in your face and talking about, this or this and this and that. Ask the biggest question that you should ask them. What have they done with all the years they've been here? What kind of fight they fought? And if they can't give you an answer, do the best thing, the next best thing. Look things up for yourself or call people that you know that are knowledgeable and ask for assistance.
Yep.